Alright people, this is it. It is the video about how I got to the Elite Four and what I am using in order to fight the Elite Four. So, first of all, like I said in the last video, giving me the ability to go find a bunch of different Pokemon across the world was a bad idea because I definitely went and looked. And my prediction of that one random gate, warp hole, black hole, wormhole thing, it's a lot of holes, it didn't change for each day, but there were different little islands all over the map. It really reminded me of Donkey Kong Country 3, where there were different things in the overworld map that you had to find in order to progress through the game or find certain collectibles or whatever. I liked it. I liked the Aeon or the Eon Flute, whatever you want to call it. I liked riding around on the Latios. It was cool. Now, in thinking about what team I wanted to get to fight the Elite Four, I was worried about two things in particular. One being that Metagross I talked about earlier, and the other being a Salamence, which I remembered from the previous game. Now, moving through Victory Road, after I had sort of assembled a team, there were a bunch of Pokemon that were not in this generation that I had to fight, which was cool. Wasn't that hard, but it does make me wonder if that's not going to be the case when I fight the Elite Four, if they're going to have new Pokemon or stuff like that. So I may be predicting the wrong thing. No spoilers. So we'll see. So basically I knew I was going to use my Sceptile, obviously, which could Mega Evolve and was good against things that are weak against grass. It also has a Dragon move. It also has a Bug move that's pretty good, being X-Scissor. So, but I guess I'll get into the moves later. I wanted Sceptile. I knew I was going to use my Gardevoir because of its part Fairy type, it being devastating to dragons. It's kind of going to be my thing going against that Salamence. And I was also going to use the Manectric, which did have a fire move in order to counter the Steelix. But even though, or not the Steelix, the Metagross, even though it had that fire move, I was still worried about not having a strong fire Pokemon. Because the ones at my disposal were, I could have a Ninetales, and my Vulpix that I picked up was pretty good. I could use a Magcargo or a Camerupt, but either of those things seemed really slow and kind of weak, and so I was looking around the map for fire Pokemon, just going off of the scanning thing. I don't remember, Pokescanner? Is that his name? Whatever the hell the thing is. So I was looking for a strong fire Pokemon. I kept finding a couple random ones. I feel like I found a Ponyta, a Rapidash, which could be a Rapidash, which I had used in the 4th generation because there was nothing when it came to fire Pokemon in there. Didn't want to do that. I think I may have found a couple other things, but then I was like exploring the map and all these islands, and I found a Larvesta. I was like, okay, fire bug, strong fire Pokemon, I'm gonna go with that. So I picked that up, and also a bunch of legendary Pokemon. I think I got all 3 of the fighting horses. I'm sure there's a better name than that. What did I get? The moon Pokemon and a couple of the elf fairy things, and I think that there may have been one more, but I'm still kind of like looking around all the islands on the different days. But yeah, I caught a bunch of legendaries, and figured I was going to do the Larvesta. So my team was going to be those 4, and then I had a bunch of different choices for the other 2. And there were a few that were being tossed around. I had a strong Gyarados. I had a strong, God, what is it called? I have to look it up. I had a strong Absol. I had a strong Heracross. So all of those were options. I got through Victory Road trying to just train up this Larvesta, and I realized at a certain point that it was only level 45, and while it was strong, it wasn't quite as strong as it could be. And I also realized that it doesn't evolve until like 59, so not really gonna happen when it comes to that. I mean, most of the rest of my team was like low 50s, so I decided to drop him. So I had, at that point I was like Manectric, Sceptile, Gardevoir, and since I was dropping that fire Pokemon, I was like, okay, well, part of dropping the fire Pokemon was also realizing that there were other things that could take out the Metagross, because the Steel defensive typing had changed, or defensive effectiveness had changed since a couple generations ago. I realized that like a Dark move would be super effective, or a Ghost move. So thinking about that, and also looking at the fact that I had two special attackers already in Manectric and Gardevoir. Physical Dark might be nice, and I had that in the Absol. It can Mega Evolve. It's got a really strong attack. It's got the one where it jumps ahead, so that worked out. And with that gone, I was like, okay, with that replacing the Larvesta, I still had a couple more spots to fill. Now, my problem is usually I will use sweepers. It's bad. It's like I will use this team of 6 Alakazams because I'm an idiot. So it's like all that physical assault. So I knew that there probably needed to be a defensive Pokemon in there somewhere. And for that, Gyarados fit the bill pretty well. Not only does he have the Ice move, which can take out 4 times weak Dragon Pokemon, which Salamence might be. I'm not really sure since I'm really expecting it to Mega Evolve. I figured that was a good Pokemon. It's good defensively. It can fly. It's got a lot of HP. It's got a lot of defenses. It's a strong attacker anyway, so it filled a lot of slots. And for that sixth slot, I eventually chose the Heracross. When it Mega Evolves, it does have some decent defenses, and it's a very good, strong physical attacker. So when I'm looking at my team now, I've got 2 special attackers, like 3 physical attackers, and 1 that's kind of like half and half. So works for me. So I'll go over each of them and kind of point out the things I was changing, so I was worried about. Now, when you have TMs in this day and age, you can kind of like a Pokemon that has like 2 or 3 main slots that are taken over. That 4th slot could be more a utility slot in my mind when I'm thinking about the Elite Four. So first of all, we got the Sceptile. He is level 54. He was one I only slightly EV trained to kind of boost some of its attacking stats. He's a little more well-rounded. He's got decent speed and attacking stats. He's not a bad Pokemon overall. Like he's more well-rounded than I remember. When he Mega Evolves, I think he's got some extra punch too. But he has Leaf Blade, Dual Chop, which could be useful when it comes to the Dragon part. I'm not really sure. It's just kind of, there's a novelty. Mega Drain to kind of heal itself, and X Scissor. So really, he kind of has a specific job. He goes in there and he attacks. Now, Gyarados is level 51. Like I said, he's probably one of my bulkier Pokemon. He has Crunch, which, again, it can kind of deal with that Metagross, but it's kind of useful overall. Aqua Tail is his main attacking thing. He also has Dragon Dance and Ice Fang, so he can Dragon Dance up and do some things. So he's kind of, I guess he kind of answers both of those like really big, threatening Pokemon that I'm sort of worried about. And Gyarados is strong anyway. Used a lot of them. I have a Gardevoir. I do not have a Mega Stone with this guy. I know it can Mega Evolve. I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's in the game. Just haven't found it. Oh man, I almost forgot. We'll get to one more topic before the video is over. This one is a very psychic one. Obviously, it's got strong special attack, special defense, so it's going to be kind of like sort of my special wall. It's pretty sturdy. It has Dazzling Gleam, which is a strong fairy move, which I don't remember in the last game. Pretty damn powerful. It's got Psychic, again, powerful move. Draining Kiss, which is fairy. It's kind of there to heal itself up in the middle of a battle. And Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is basically there to take out other Psychic Pokemon, as well as that Metagross. Obviously, it's a Psychic Pokemon, but that's the thing I'm going to deal with. So I got multiple different ways of doing that because I don't know what move it's going to have. I have no idea. I assume it has something to take out fire Pokemon, because I seem to remember that. Heracross. It can Mega Evolve, obviously, and it gets ridiculously high attack when it Mega Evolves. It's got Mega Horn, Close Combat, Earthquake. I chose that again over, I think, the Rock. I think it had Stone Edge. I chose that to deal with Metagross again. And Brick Break. Brick Break being if I want to use a fighting move without close combating and lowering his defenses, and you know the drill. Heracross, I might want to point out, I did actually Heracross and Absol, I did EV train to have really high attack and really high speed. Manectric, Thunder Wave, if I want to paralyze something, I just find it's a really useful thing. Overheat, in order to hit that steel Pokemon really, really hard. Electro Ball, because when he evolves, it's supposed to be really fast and paralyzing, kind of. That's my move. I could have had like a strong electric move by itself, but I chose that It also has Protect. It had a physical electric move, but his physical attack really isn't as good as his special. His special, I think, God, it's like more than twice it at this point, even before Mega Evolving. So I kind of use Protect just maybe Scout. I don't know. I mean, I don't know the attack moves of any of these things. So it would be nice to know. Absol, last one. Absol kind of only has one purpose, really. It's to hit really, really hard. So it has Night Slash, Psycho Cut, Swords Dance, and Sucker Punch. When he Mega Evolves, his speed is a little bit better, but normally it's not that great. In fact, he has kind of a diminishing nature for speed. But again, just like Manectric, I kind of like stuck with it anyway. So that's my team. I have, what is that? 4 Pokemon that can Mega Evolve. I know that I can only Mega Evolve once per battle, but got options. Gyarados and Gardevoir. I could have gone in with an entire team of legendary Pokemon, but I chose not to do that. Something I mentioned earlier that I totally forgot, or something I alluded to earlier, was one of the big things about Victory Road is that usually you fight your rival at a certain point in time. This game not being an exception to that rule. But there's so much better presentation about better storytelling and the different storylines in this formerly third generation game, like with Team Magma and your rival and stuff like, and your excuse me, not your rival, your neighbor, like she's already your rival in this game, and with Steven and all that. That the Wally stuff just feels like it was forgotten about, like it wasn't improved that much. Like, yeah, you help him out, you fight him, like I only remember fighting him like 2 or 3 times. You get to the end of the game and he's got a Mega Gallade, which is sort of random. Like he's like, oh, now he can Mega Evolve too. Like, oh, okay. And his model in the 3D just kind of looks like this like little kid, this like dopey little kid, and he sort of uses like dopey cutesy Pokemon. And I was surprised he didn't have a Gardevoir this time. I was surprised he had a Gallade, which made it funny that I had a Gardevoir because oh man, I saw he was coming out with the Gallade. I was like, he's probably gonna Mega Evolve this. And he did, and it didn't matter. He used Close Combat, and I had the Gardevoir, which I believe is like a 4 times resistance to that. Maybe it's at least a 2 times resistance to that. And I just used the Fairy move against his fighting Pokemon, and he didn't take 1 hit. He took 2, but Wally was kind of a pushover in this one. I don't know if that's a consequence of knowing a little bit more about the game or knowing where to find certain things like Gardevoir in general or what, but he did feel like he was a part of the game that was not as improved upon as many of the other parts. So we'll see if he does anything after the Elite Four, but I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to fight the Elite Four, and I will record another video after it is done, especially if they kick my ass. You guys have said it's hard, so we'll see. I'm kind of like, it'd be funny if I had to eat my words, but I'm not going to jinx